In the heart of the ancient world, where the sands of time have buried countless secrets, there once thrived a kingdom so magnificent that its name alone inspired awe and reverence. This was the kingdom of Asmar, a land of towering spires, lush gardens, and a people whose wisdom was said to rival that of the gods themselves. Yet, despite its grandeur, Asmar vanished from the annals of history, leaving behind only whispers and fragments of its existence. This is the story of how Asmar rose to greatness, and how it fell into obscurity. Long before the rise of empires and the spread of civilizations, the land that would become Asmar was a barren expanse, cursed by the gods for reasons long forgotten. It was said that the sun scorched the earth, and the winds carried only dust and despair. But amidst this desolation, a group of nomads, led by a visionary named Azor, stumbled upon an oasis hidden deep within the desert. This oasis, unlike any other, was fed by an eternal spring, its waters said to hold the essence of life itself. Azor, a man of unparalleled determination, saw potential where others saw only ruin. He declared that this oasis would be the foundation of a new kingdom, one that would defy the gods and carve its destiny into the fabric of the world. Under his leadership, the nomads began to build, using the resources of the oasis to create a city that would soon become the envy of the ancient world. The city of Asmar grew rapidly, its people drawing strength from the eternal spring. They cultivated the land, turning the desert into a fertile paradise. The spires of Asmar reached toward the heavens, adorned with intricate carvings that told the story of their rise. The kingdom became a beacon of knowledge, attracting scholars, artisans and warriors from far and wide. Azor, now crowned as the first king of Asmar, ruled with wisdom and compassion, ensuring that his people prospered for centuries. Asmar flourished, its influence spreading across the known world. The kingdom was renowned for its advancements in science, art, and magic. The Asmarians discovered how to harness the power of the eternal spring, using its waters to create wonders that defied explanation. They built machines that could move without human hands, crafted jewels that glowed with an inner light, and developed medicines that could heal even the gravest of wounds. The heart of Asmar was the Great Library, a vast repository of knowledge that housed scrolls, tomes, and artifacts from every corner of the world. Scholars traveled great distances to study within its halls, and it was said that the library contained the answers to every question ever asked. The Asmarians believed that knowledge was the key to immortality, and they guarded their secrets jealously. But as Asmar's power grew, so too did its pride. The kingdom began to see itself as invincible, its people as chosen by the gods. They built grand monuments to their own achievements, erecting statues of their kings and queens that reached higher than the clouds. The eternal spring, once a symbol of life and hope, became a tool of conquest. Its waters used to fuel the kingdom's ever-expanding ambitions. The downfall of Asmar began not with a bang, but with a whisper. It started with a drought, the first in living memory. The eternal spring, which had never faltered. The oasis that once gave it life has vanished, swallowed by the sands of time. Yet, some believe that the secrets of Asmar still lie buried beneath the desert, waiting to be uncovered. The Great Library, with its vast stores of knowledge, may yet hold the key to understanding what truly happened on that fateful night. The ruins of Asmar were first rediscovered by a nomadic tribe known as the Sandwalkers. These hardy people, who had long made their home in the desert, stumbled upon the remnants of the kingdom while fleeing a violent sandstorm. What they found was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Towering stone spires, now cracked and crumbling, half buried in the sand, intricate carvings that told stories of a forgotten age, and a sense of unease that clung to the air like a curse. The Sandwalkers, superstitious by nature, believed the ruins to be haunted. They spoke of strange lights flickering in the darkness, of whispers carried on the wind, and of a deep, unnatural silence that seemed to swallow all sound. Despite their fears, they could not resist the allure of the treasures they glimpsed among the ruins. Golden artifacts, jeweled relics, and scrolls inscribed with strange symbols. They took what they could carry and left quickly, vowing never to return. But word of their discovery spread, and soon the ruins of Asmar became a magnet for those brave or foolish enough to seek its secrets. Among the first to arrive was a scholar named Kale, a man obsessed with uncovering the truth behind the kingdom's fall. Kale had spent years studying ancient texts and piecing together fragments of Asmar's history. He believed that the Great Library, if it still stood, held the answers to questions that had plagued humanity for centuries. Kyle assembled a small team of explorers, including a cartographer, a linguist, and a pair of seasoned adventurers. Together, they ventured into the desert, guided by the Sandwalker's descriptions and Kale's own meticulous research. The journey was grueling, with scorching days and freezing nights. But at last, they reached the ruins. What they found was both breathtaking and unsettling. The city of Asmar, though in ruins, still bore the marks of its former glory. The spires, though cracked, reached toward the sky like skeletal fingers. The streets, though buried in sand, were lined with statues of kings and queens, their faces worn smooth by time. And at the heart of the city stood the remains of the Great Library, its once majestic facade now a crumbling shell. As the team explored the ruins, they began to uncover artifacts that hinted at the kingdom's advanced knowledge. They found machines that still hummed with a faint, otherworldly energy, scrolls written in a language no one could decipher, and strange glowing crystals that seemed to pulse with life. But they also found signs of the kingdom's downfall: charred walls, shattered statues, and the skeletal remains of those who had perished in the cataclysm. As the days passed, the team began to experience strange phenomena. They heard whispers in the wind, though no one was there to speak. They saw shadows moving in the corners of their vision, though no one cast them. And they felt a growing sense of dread, as though the ruins themselves were alive and watching them. Kyle, ever the rationalist, dismissed these occurrences as the product of exhaustion and overactive imaginations. But the others were not so sure. The cartographer, a practical man named Jorin, began to suffer from vivid nightmares in which he was trapped in the ruins, unable to escape. The linguist, a woman named Lyra, claimed to hear voices calling her name, urging her to uncover a hidden chamber beneath the library. And the adventurers, a brother and sister named Tarek and Naya, began to argue incessantly, their once strong bond fraying under the weight of the ruins' influence. Despite these warning signs, Kale pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets of the Great Library. At last, he found what he had been searching for, a hidden chamber sealed behind a massive stone door. The door was covered in intricate carvings depicting the ritual that had led to Asmar's downfall. Kyle, ignoring the protests of his team, insisted on opening the door. The chamber was unlike anything the team had ever seen. Its walls were lined with shelves filled with scrolls and artifacts, and at its center stood a pedestal upon which rested a single glowing crystal. The air was thick with an almost palpable energy, and the whispers that had haunted the team grew louder, more insistent. Kyle approached the crystal, his eyes filled with a mixture of awe and greed. As he reached out to touch it, the chamber was filled with a blinding light, and the team was thrown to the ground. When they regained their senses, they found that the crystal had shattered, and the chamber was filled with a thick, black mist. The mist seemed to have a life of its own, swirling around the team and seeping into their minds. They were overwhelmed by visions of Asmar's final days, the desperation of its people, the horror of the ritual, and the cataclysm that had consumed the kingdom. They saw the faces of those who had been sacrificed, their eyes filled with fear and betrayal, and they felt the weight of Asmar's curse, a curse that had lain dormant for centuries, waiting for someone to awaken it. The team fled the chamber, their minds reeling from the visions they had seen, but the mist followed them, spreading through the ruins and awakening something ancient and malevolent. The statues seemed to come alive, their stone eyes following the team as they ran. The whispers grew louder, more urgent, and the shadows seemed to close in around them, One by one, the team began to fall. Jorin, overcome by fear, vanished into the mist, never to be seen again. Lyra, driven mad by the voices in her head, turned on her companions, forcing Tarek to defend himself. Anaya, desperate to escape, stumbled into a hidden pit, her screams echoing through the ruins. Only Kael and Tarek made it out of the ruins alive, though they were forever changed by what they had experienced. Kael, once a man of reason, became obsessed with the idea of returning to Asmar, convinced that the answers he sought still lay within its ruins. Tarek, haunted by the loss of his sister and the horrors he had witnessed, vowed never to speak of Asmar again. Years after the ill-fated expedition led by Kael, the ruins of Asmar remained untouched, a forbidden place shrouded in mystery and fear, but whispers of its treasures and secrets continued to spread, drawing the attention of a new generation of explorers. Among them was a young historian named Elara, who had spent her life studying the fragments of Asmar's history. Unlike Kael, who had been driven by ambition, Elara was motivated by a desire to understand the past and learn from its mistakes. Elara assembled a small team, carefully selecting individuals who shared her respect for the past and her commitment to uncovering the truth. Among them were a skilled archaeologist named Rian, a cautious mystic named Sora, and a resourceful guide named Jarek. Together they ventured into the desert, determined to uncover the final secrets of Asmar. The journey to the ruins was fraught with challenges, but the team pressed on, guided by Elara's knowledge and Jarek's expertise. When they finally reached the ruins, they were struck by the same sense of awe and unease that had gripped Kael's team. The spires of Asmar loomed like silent sentinels, and the air was thick with the weight of history. Elara led the team to the great library, where Kael had discovered the hidden chamber. The chamber was still sealed, its stone door covered in the same intricate carvings that depicted the ritual of Asmar's downfall. But Elara noticed something that Kael had missed, a series of symbols etched into the door, symbols that hinted at a way to undo the curse. With Sora's help, Elara deciphered the symbols and performed a counter-ritual, one that required not sacrifice, but unity and humility. As the final words of the ritual were spoken, the door to the chamber creaked open, revealing a sight that left the team breathless. The chamber was filled with light, its walls lined with shelves that held not just scrolls and artifacts, but the collective wisdom of Asmar's people. At the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, upon which